Why is there such a pay gap, and why is it so different in different industries? Like financial advisors, 63%. This one's even worse. Legal occupations, 76%. Men make 76% more than women in legal occupations in the US in 2016. That's crazy to me. I don't understand why. So I want to recreate this range plot from UNOVIZ, which shows the gender pay gap, and the data was originally from this Information is Beautiful piece. And we have the data here. I exported it to a CSV file, which I then opened in a text editor. So I can copy this data and then go to this D3 AI template, which is code organized in a way that it should be easy to use this edit with AI feature. So I'm going to fork this and say gender pay gap dumbbell chart. I think it's a dumbbell chart. Let me just Google that real quick. Yeah, that's basically the name of that thing. So I'm going to go in here and make a new file called data.csv. And then I'll just paste that data there. And then previously, this file was loading the data from a URL, but instead we can just say import data from /data.csv. And instead of doing all this load data stuff, we will just return that data. And then when this runs, it's not going to work because this code is looking for a whole other data set. So let me try this again. Edit with AI. Data.js is correct. Because the last time I tried this, it was Gemini, and Gemini changed that thing around. Actually, let me try Claude 3.7, which is really, really good. Really, really smart. Oh, look at that, it worked. Amazing. And now, like, I wanted to sort it by. Sort the y-axis. And I don't know if this shows all the data either. Okay, well, that didn't work. So I'm curious, how many rows? I mean, I don't think it's showing all the rows of data. Please show all the rows of data. Oh wait, it is sorted. It is sorted by the gap. Alright, so let me make this taller. Alright, so actually let's sort the y-axis by maximum value, not max gap. And yeah, let's take the top 20 rows. So I think this is kind of the future of coding and data viz coding. It works really well for data viz coding. They call it vibe coding nowadays, right? Where you just tell the AI what to do and it does it. And I'm curious how this will impact my course. I'm going to teach my data viz course coming up, and it's a whole new world now. Nobody's going to write the code. Alright, this is more like what I wanted to see from the original. So let me bring the height back down. And it's responsive too, which is nice. And I don't know why the hover logic is like this. Like when I hover over... So now it's just a matter of tweaking it. So like the left margin, I want to increase so we can see all the labels. And I think we can do for more than 20. So let's say make the following changes. Take the top 30 rows instead of 20. I want to get rid of this overlapping issue. So the color legend is overlapping with the subtitle. Please move it down and expose that as a value I can tweak in config.js. So ideally I could just go into the config and tweak it and fix that problem. And another thing is, please change the number format of the x-axis, because it's kind of, there are overlapping labels there. like from, for example, what is it now? $120, comma 000 to 120K. And have fewer ticks maybe? Well, let's just do that and see what it does. And it's remarkably good at doing multiple things at once. So let me see if Claude 3.5 can handle this. And by the way, a new feature of VizHub is these ghost text completions. You can say const area equals, and then it will suggest some text, just like Copilot does. But anyway, this seemed to have worked fairly well. Now, I asked it to expose this thing as something I can tweak. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Y offset. So now I can just do the Alt drag to position this thing. Instant feedback. So now I can drag it to be at just the right spot. And then let me make the men color like a more traditional, like, you know, male gender color. Typically it's blue and pink. Excellent. Cool. Well, I'd say it worked out fairly well. There's one last thing, is that the title is getting cut off. And like, where's that? make sure to use, like, come on. Make sure to use the chart title from config.js, because it's not. It's coming from somewhere else. There we go. Nice. These labels are a little bit big. Can we make the labels on the y-axis slightly smaller? There we go. That looks better. Let's just disable the hovering on the dumbbells, because it's broken and it doesn't really add value. Sweet. The README is out of date. And for writing, let me try the ChatGPT. Please update the README to be about this actual example. Let's see what it does. It rewrote the entire README to be about the actual code example. So that's just amazing. It's amazing to me how fast this stuff works. Oh, let me cite the actual data source, and I want to know. Okay, so it's from 2016. I noticed that there are some problems when one file gets too long. And I try to build it into the like system prompt, but like, let's just split up render dumbbell chart.js into multiple files, smaller files, because it's doing a lot, and it's already got functions defined in there. So I think it'll naturally find the splits and pull it out correctly. Okay, great. Now we got a bunch of these smaller files, which is really nice. Okay, so now let's try again. It would be awesome to be able to get back the previous prompt. So let me try this again. Make it link to this page. So change source gender pay gap data to source information is beautiful, comma, gender pay gap data, and make that text be a link to this URL. Can you do it? And it should only have to touch one small file now. Or maybe this and the config. Okay, it worked. Hooray! So it's pretty smart about adding a link, a href element, and if I click it, it opens in a new tab. Awesome. Awesome. And then let me just make sure that it's clear that it's from 2016, because that's the first question I had. I'll just put it in parentheses at the top. Okay, cool. That's looking pretty good. So, and I like how it pulled out the gap as a percentage here. So 60, like what is, how do we read this? Men make 60% more than women in the category of doctors and surgeons. That's pretty wild. About software developers. You know, it's kind of hard to correlate all the way across. Like I can't really tell which one it matches up to. So let me say, and I'm going to ask Cloud 3.7 because it's a little creative. It is a little difficult to tell which of the y-axis elements lines up to which of the dumbbells, period. Can we add some faint lines that connect? Submit. And I want to make this workflow, this voice workflow really smooth. Like this would be so cool if you could just sit back and talk and, you know, have your stuff coded for you. Wow, look at that. It did it. Ha, it did it perfectly. Wow. That's super nice. Super nice. So now I can see clearly for software. Please make it so that when I hover over entries in the y-axis or over the dumbbells, it will highlight the corresponding row. Ha, it's a rug. Row. R-O-W. Let's try that. You know what? I wish we could see the actual output as it's generating, because in the background it's generating the response. Oh, it's something broke. It's too bad. Let me try one more time. Make it so I can hover over the y-axis and the corresponding rows highlight. And it might be a thing where I need to be more clear about the patterns that we can use for like state management. But I think it's pretty... I think it can figure all that out based on the code that is right here. Okay, that worked. Hooray. Nice. Okay, so now if I'm looking at this and I say, huh, what is it for programmers? Ah, there we go. There we go. Now I can see very clearly. The pay gap for programmers is 15%. And by the way, I think this is for the US. Yeah, this is for the US. So we should probably clarify that. Maybe 2016, comma, US. So yeah, it raises the question, why is there such a pay gap, and why is it so different in different industries? Like financial advisors, 63%. This one's even worse, legal occupations, 76%. Men make 76% more than women in legal occupations in the US in 2016. That's crazy to me. I don't understand why. So yeah, it just seems like an unfair world for women. It's too bad. But I also wonder, like, is it better in other countries? Maybe. I don't know. We could compare. Maybe we could compare the gap in different countries and see which one is more equitable. Anyway, I think that's a pretty successful test of the AI. All right. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye.